Before CGI became the easy solution for every explosion and crash, there was Speed, a film that pushed practical stunt filmmaking to its absolute limits. Directed by Jan de Bont and starring Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and Dennis Hopper, this high-octane thriller didn't just rely on tension, it created chaos for real. Almost everything you see was done using real vehicles, real locations, and jaw-dropping practical effects. Let's go behind the scenes of one of the most iconic action films of the 90s. In Speed, the final act shifts from highways to underground tunnels, and the tension only gets more intense. The climax takes place entirely inside a subway system, where Officer Jack Tavern, played by Keanu Reeves, faces his final confrontation with the villain Howard Payne, portrayed by Dennis Hopper. In the story, Payne hijacks a subway train and sends it hurtling through the tunnels, with no intention of stopping. Jack climbs onto the speeding train in a desperate attempt to stop him. What follows is a brutal one-on-one fight on the roof of a moving subway car. And just when it seems like things can't escalate further, the train derails, smashes through the tunnel, and crashes on the streets above. On screen, the sequence feels massive, chaotic, and uncontrollable. But behind the scenes, it was a carefully engineered combination of real subway locations, custom-built sets, practical stunt rigs, and detailed miniature models. To make the climax feel authentic, much of the sequence was shot inside the real Los Angeles metro system. The production was granted limited access to tunnels and platforms, allowing the crew to capture a genuine underground atmosphere. Several scenes were filmed at Pershing Square Station, where actors and extras performed within an actual subway environment. One of the most thrilling moments of the film is the fight between Jack and Howard on top of the moving train. Shooting an extended fight sequence on a real speeding subway would have been dangerously unpredictable, so the filmmakers created a controlled stunt environment. A section of the train's roof was built inside a studio, while the actors could safely perform while secured with hidden harnesses. To simulate motion, fast-moving lights and practical wind effects recreate the sensation of rushing through tunnels. As the train loses control and heads toward an unfinished track, the film delivers a spectacular derailment sequence inside the tunnel. To achieve this safely and convincingly, the effects team turned to large-scale miniature models. They constructed an incredibly detailed 1A scale subway tunnel and train, complete with realistic rails, textured concrete walls, electrical cables, and scattered debris. The miniature train was mounted on a mechanical rig that allowed it to travel along the track before being deliberately derailed. At the precise moment of derailment, the rails were intentionally misaligned, and explosive squibs and air cannons were triggered to simulate sparks, flying debris, and collapsing tunnel walls. The entire destruction sequence was filmed using high-speed cameras. This was crucial. When high-speed footage is played back at normal speed, small objects appear heavier and more massive. Without this technique, the miniature train would have looked like a toy. Instead, the slow-motion playback gave the derailment real weight and impact, making it feel terrifyingly authentic. When the train burst out of the tunnel and onto the streets above, the filmmakers switched from miniatures to a full-scale subway car prop. The production team built a heavy mock subway car, designed to resemble a real train. It was mounted on a concealed rail system, so it could be accelerated safely. During filming, the train was pushed at high speed toward a specially prepared street, built specifically for destruction. As the train exploded onto the road, it smashed through the cars and street structures that were engineered to collapse on impact. Multiple cameras were positioned at various angles, wide shots to capture the full scope of destruction, and close-up cameras to catch flying debris and metal fragments in extreme detail. Because this was a one-time stunt, the crew used as many cameras as possible to capture every moment. There were no do-overs. The subway climax of Speed remains iconic because it relied on practical filmmaking at every level. Real locations, controlled stunt work, large-scale miniatures, and carefully blended editing all worked together under the direction of Jan de Bont, who preferred practical effects over heavy CGI. The most unforgettable part of Speed is built around a terrifyingly simple concept: a city bus rigged with a bomb that will explode if it drops below 50 miles per hour. That single rule turns an ordinary vehicle into a ticking time bomb and transforms miles of freeway into a battlefield. Director Jan de Bont wanted the sequence to feel raw and believable. Instead of relying heavily on CGI, he chose real highways, real vehicles, and real stunt driving. The bus chase was filmed on Los Angeles freeways, particularly stretches that were still under construction at the time. These unfinished highways provided wide, empty roads, the perfect controlled environment to safely stage high-speed chaos while maintaining realism. What looks like a single bus throughout the film was actually a fleet of approximately 10 to 11 different vehicles, each modified for a specific purpose. Some buses were designed purely for interior dialogue scenes, where actors like Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock would perform safely. Others were built specifically for high-speed stunt driving, with reinforced suspensions and modified braking systems to handle the physical stress of aggressive maneuvers. In certain buses, windshields and body panels were removed entirely, so cameras could move freely in and out of the vehicle. This allowed filmmakers to capture both the panic inside the bus and the intense action outside, often within the same shot, making the audience feel trapped in the middle of the chaos. One of the most nerve-wracking moments in the film shows Jack Tavern sliding beneath the moving bus to examine the bomb. On screen, it looks as if he is inches away from being crushed by the road at full speed. In reality, this scene was created using a clever stunt setup. The actor was positioned on a small wheel platform or dolly attached beneath the bus. This rig was pulled in a controlled manner, ensuring safety while maintaining the illusion of extreme danger. The camera was placed at an extremely low angle, framing the spinning wheels and the rushing asphalt just inches away. This perspective exaggerated the risk and made the scene feel far more dangerous than it actually was. A perfect example of cinematic illusion done right. The most iconic moment of Speed is undoubtedly the bus jumping a massive gap in an unfinished freeway. On screen, it appears as though the vehicle launches across an impossible distance, suspended in midair before slamming back onto the road. To achieve this, the production built a large ramp on the freeway. A professional stunt driver accelerated the bus at full speed, sending it airborne. In reality, the bus cleared roughly 40 to 50 feet, an astonishing practical stunt for such a heavy vehicle. To protect the driver during the landing, a shock-absorbing harness system was used to reduce the force of impact. It was a real jump performed for real and captured in camera. But the enormous gap seen in the final film didn't fully exist during the stunt. In reality, the road surface was continuous. The bus launched off a ramp and landed safely on intact pavement. During post-production, visual effects artists digitally removed a section of the freeway to create the illusion of a massive missing gap. By combining a real airborne stunt with subtle digital enhancement, the filmmakers create a moment that feels impossible, yet grounded in physical reality. It's this blend of practical action and smart editing that made the jump legendary. Throughout the sequence, the bus collides with cars and smashes through obstacles. Many of these moments were achieved using practical stunts. Real vehicles were placed strategically on the freeway and struck at controlled speeds to capture authentic metal crunches, shattered glass, and flying debris. In one instance, some cast members inside the bus were not told the exact timing of an impact. When the collision happened, their shock reactions were completely genuine, and those real expressions of fear made it into the final cut. That authenticity is something CGI simply cannot replicate. If you enjoyed discovering how these insane stunts were pulled off without heavy CGI, make sure to like this video and share it with someone who loves classic 90s action movies. Comment below which stunt shocked you the most, and don't forget to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes breakdowns of your favorite iconic films.